Hello everyone and welcome back to Madden 2002, the Dallas Cowboys franchise mode. We are here towards the back half of our schedule in the final stretch of games, and it is Thanksgiving. This episode's actually going to come out pretty close to Thanksgiving. I probably could have waited, but it is going to come out when it comes out. But this is our Thanksgiving game. Last year I simmed through the Thanksgiving game because it was against the Denver Broncos, and I guess when I looked at the schedule and I realized that our third Thanksgiving game was just like an out-of-conference game, I was like, who cares? Why does that game matter? Especially where we were with our record at the time at that point in the season. So I just kind of skipped over it. And then I didn't realize until after the fact that was a Thanksgiving game. So that one is on me. But this one, I made sure that we were going to at least watch the Thanksgiving game. And it is important because, of course, it's a divisional matchup. Not just a conference matchup, but a divisional matchup. So we are definitely going to watch it. So we are slowly kind of crawling our way back from where we were at the very beginning of the season in our 0-5 hole that we found ourselves in. But regardless, there's still plenty of work left to be done. We're at this point pretty much going through the motions, trying to just kind of get through the remainder of this season, see if we can win as many games as possible to get close back to that kind of 7-9 mark where we were in the first season. But the questions on Will Newton seem to be rising, whether or not we're really building the culture here, really improving on anything with this team. So we're going to try and at least pick up another win here as George drops back to pass here, and he finds an open tight end here, but there is a flag on the field, and it is a holding penalty on the Skins, so they're going to wipe away that play and even push the Skins back a little bit further. So we have white jerseys, sir. It's going to be pretty easy to see that you're holding. So now back in their own territory, that's going to go for a handoff to Stephen Davis, who blows through a Cowboys defender, but gets brought down by Wooden, the safety. And Stephen Davis it needs a little introduction here in Irving, Texas, as he's been a pretty big Cowboy killer here the last couple seasons here. So the Skins now trying to pick up the first down, and it's a fumble. I think it might have been Gardner, the receiver, who fumbled that one. Maybe O'Neal might have forced it, I'm not sure. But the Skins would retain possession, but they would be well short of the sticks. So they're going to bring out Conway for a very long field goal. This one might be outside of his range, and it is, as that ball falls well short of the goalpost. And the Redskins are going to come up empty on this opening drive that kind of ate up a lot of time here. Kind of went back and forth. They seem to have a first down, seem to be moving the ball, and then a holding call kind of derailed how that drive went. And they had a shot to get the first down, but a fumble kind of mixed things up for them. So now on the offensive drive here for the Cowboys, we're close to midfield. Chad Pennington on the run just unloads a deep ball to Reggie Bismail and finds an open target. And Schottenheimer's really not. He's not the big fan of that. He's not a big fan of what happens. So. But the first quarter is going to come to a close. The score sitting at 0-0, but we are on the move in Skins territory. So inside the red zone now on a 3rd and 10. Going to need to pick up, the 10. So Pennington drops back here, unloads one to the end zone into double coverage, tries to get it to Reggie Bismail again, but prime time, along with help of another Skins defender, was able to block that one up. So now bring in Doug Carey to try and knock home this field goal to take a 3-point lead, and he does just that. So 3-0 is going to be your score here in Texas Stadium, and we now have the ball again as the Skins offense stalled out, and it's a handoff to Emmitt Smith, and Emmitt Smith just coughs up the football. He wasn't even hit that hard. He just, didn't have a firm grip on it. I'm really not sure what happened there, but he fumbles the football, and the Skins drop on top of it, so now we give the ball right on back to Washington, and on a 3rd and 5, our defense is trying to come up with a stop here. George drops back, shoots one over to the side of the not the end zone, but over kind of to the corner, but there's another flag, and Coleman again gets a little bit too much of that white jersey. And it's another holding call on the Skins offensive line. So another drive seems to be kind of stalling out here for the Skins because of a couple holding calls, except this one now on 3rd down. But because of the incompletion, we're just going to decline that and make the Skins have to try and kick for the field goal. And Conway, again, we have now seen the full extent of his range. This one a little bit closer from the first attempt that he had, but still a little bit too far as Conway bounces this one off of the crossbar. We don't see a lot of doinks in this game, but that one thumbs right off of the crossbar, and it is not going to be good. So we're going to get the ball here, and we've already moved it well into Skins territory. So underneath a minute here in the first half, Emmitt Smith getting busy now, holding on to the football this time as he gets well inside of the 20-yard line. Gets brought down at about the 10-yard line. Washington's 10-yard line on a 3rd and 3. He definitely bailed himself out here. He's trying to make up for the mistake he had earlier in the game, and that will certainly help. So 1st and 10 here from about the Skins' 12-yard line, and Chad Pennington wants to go to Galloway in the back of the end zone, but that man, Champ Bailey, is there putting his hands on the ball. So what are we going to try here on a 2nd and 10 with split backs? Chad Pennington drops back again, wants to go right back to Joey Galloway, and now in double coverage, Joey Galloway finds a way to get his hands on the ball and bring it down. So Champ Bailey's over there again. He even had a little bit of extra help over top, but it didn't seem to matter as Chad Pennington said, screw it, dude, I'm going right back to that same spot. There's no way you're going to block him twice, and Joey Galloway made sure that that did not happen. So it is a touchdown for the Cowboys. And 10-0 is going to be your score here late in the first half. The Skins wouldn't do anything with the remainder of the time that they had in the first half. So 10-0 is your score. And again, you see that record for the Skins at 6-5. Man, remember our division started off very, very poorly. But the second half is getting underway. Great for your Cowboys offense as Chad Pennington gets a humongous reception here to Joey Galloway along at the sidelines. That connection is really clicking in this ballgame. We haven't seen it click too much so far since we brought Chad Pennington to Dallas, but it is really cooking today here. And now this man is also cooking Emmitt Smith as he gets to the edge and picks up a nice chunk of yardage. Ragib Ishmael kind of standing there with his hands in his pockets. He missed his opportunity to lay a nice block for Emmitt Smith, but regardless, it's still a first down, so we will happily and willingly take it. So 1st and 10 here from about Washington's 24-yard line. As Pennington pressure down here, the pocket was kind of collapsing, but he was able to get rid of it to Jackie Harris, the tight end, who picks up another first down for Dallas. So we are moving. But as I was stating earlier with the Skins and their 6-5 record, you got to remember 3/4 of the division was winless in the first 4 weeks or so. So the Skins are kind of holding on to a nice lead in the division here, but hovering around 500. So we do have an opportunity to win this ball game, and we're doing everything we can as Joey Galloway gets into the end zone for the 2nd time today. So Chad Pennington, again, was talking about that connection that the two had, and it just seems to continue clicking as we march out to a 17-0 lead over the Skins on Thanksgiving at home here, heading into the 4th quarter of play. Now, do not look at the time code because we have a lot more football to play. So from midfield here, George delivers a reception here to Gardner, who shakes off a defender, shakes off another defender, and he's still got open space here, running away from other Cowboys defenders, and they finally bring him down, but not before he picks up probably about another 10 yards after the initial catch. So a humongous play on offense for the Skins. It wasn't even that great of a pass as Gardner had to come back to get it, and he shakes off Neal, the rookie, and then shakes off even more. I might have been Terrell Buckley. I think he shook off as well, but just, yeah, rough. Rough all around tackling-wise for the Cowboys defense. So 2nd and 10 from now our own 24 as George drops back here. We send a little bit of blitz. It doesn't get home, and this one is thrown out to Westbrook, who hauls that one in on one-on-one coverage as he mosses that defender here. So now we are kind of struggling here. So on 2nd and goal inside the 5, it's going to be a pitch to Stephen Davis. An untouched Stephen Davis gets into the end zone, and it is another Washington touchdown. Or actually, it's the first Washington touchdown. I was under the assumption they'd already had some points or had scored, but I forgot that we were already skunking them out of here. So 7-17 is your score, and Conway is now on the field to try for the onside kick, and now the kick is down. We don't have nearly enough guys in the vicinity to recover that one, and Washington recovers it. So now things getting a little bit scary here as Washington in the driver's seat to at least get within one possession if they can score on this drive. So George, pressure in his face, unloads it and finds an open man, and he's finally brought down between two Cowboys defenders, man. I don't know why we just cannot seem to tackle consistently on defense, but it is beginning to be a real problem as the Skins are looking to move now even further into our territory. So George rolls out to the right, uncorks one to the other side of the field, and he finds Westbrook, who sidesteps a defender and gets into the end zone for another Washington touchdown. And there it is, folks. Now we are within one possession here in Texas Stadium, man. It seemed to be kind of a blowout brewing if we could just get the ball back and put maybe another field goal on the board even. But now the Skins have really evened things up, so we desperately need to kill some time, and Emmitt Smith gets the first down that we're probably going to need, but he runs out of bounds, and that's going to stop the time. So now we're going to desperately need to get another first down, and as you can see, on a 3rd and 7, it's not looking good, and Michael Wiley had the open space here, but he stumbles off of some defenders, and he cannot get into open space to get the first down, so the Skins are going to get the ball back here with a little bit over a minute if we can punt it, but Will Newton's going to send out the field goal unit. He thinks Joe Carey could probably make this one, and he doesn't, as that one bounces well short of the goalpost, as Doug Harney just bounces that one right into the end zone. And so now the Skins are going to get the ball potentially to win the game, not just tie, but win the game with a minute left from about their own 40-yard line. And on one play, Gardner's shaking off even more defenders, and it's a humongous pickup for the Skins offense. So maybe a questionable coaching call that we might be talking about on local radio here in Irving, Texas, here in Dallas. Just a very questionable call, but we'll see how it pays off here for the Skins. If our defense can hold the Skins from 0 points on 2nd and 10 now, George is going to uncork this one over to Westbrook, who hauls it in, and he's brought down inside the 15. Looks like he's brought down about the Dallas 12 or 13-yard line. So now the Skins are in complete control as time is going to run here, and they could easily just set up a field goal and burn the rest of the time if they wanted to, and George is going to spike it here because they're probably going to at least think it over, maybe at least take 1 or 2 more shots towards the end zone, if at all possible. So on 2nd and 10 with 35 seconds from our 13-yard line, they're going to hand it off to Stephen Davis, who redirects towards the middle of the field, maybe trying to set up for Conway's field goal. As they're running the hurry up here on 3rd and 9, so maybe they're going to try and run another play. They really don't have to. I guess if they wanted to be aggressive to try and win the game, they could. But so George is rolling out to the right here. Pressure is on, and he gets it to Westbrook to come out of the end zone to catch it, and he cannot turn upfield to get into the end zone as Terrell Buckley makes the tackle. So it's going to be 4th and 1 now as he's short of the sticks, and they're going to bring out Conway for the chip shot, and he nails that chip shot. So the game is at least tied now. Maybe if the Redskins were a little bit better with the time management or just play calling, they probably could have won the game, but regardless, they played for overtime, and now we are heading into another extra frame of football. So on 3rd and 5 in Redskins territory, Chad Pennington uncorks one to Raggy Bismail, who makes the catch and gets out of bounds for a first down. So this drive will continue as we move closer and closer, but it's another long 3rd down, 3rd and 7. Pennington drops back, pressure is on, and he gets rid of the football, and I think that was Joey Galloway in the vicinity, but there he is, man. Chan Bailey getting a hand on the football yet again, man. He's an amazing defensive talent, and we see why right there. So bringing out Carney again for another field goal attempt, and he doinks one off of the crossbar. So now both kickers in this game have a crossbar doink, and the score is going to remain at 17 all. So Washington now really just needs to get about a good maybe 30-40 yards, and they can take a game-winning field goal potentially, and they get most of what they need on one play as George on play action uncorks one to the left side of the field, and it's Gardner again. Who else, man? Shaking off tackles and making a beautiful catch. So he's been cooking us all day as Joey Galloway cannot match that yard production. So on 3rd and 3, Washington basically just kind of killing out the time here and just trying to inch their way closer and closer within Conway's range, because he's a decent kicker, but we've already seen him miss 2 in this game. So Washington probably needs to at least get another 5 or 10 yards to really feel good about it, but they're not going to get it. So they're going to send Conway out here to kick from the Dallas 31, and that one had a pretty weak angle on it, but it definitely is good. So the Redskins complete the comeback, down 17-0 entering the 4th quarter, and they end up winning this one 20-17 to extend to 7-5 on the season. We dropped to 4-7-1 on the season, thanks to our tie with the Giants, of course, and things are just not getting a whole lot better. And there you can see statistically, we were actually the better team in this. Normally we're not, but we were in many, many metrics. Even on 3rd down, we always have pretty terrible 3rd down percentage, especially compared to our opponents, but Washington only converted a single 3rd down all game, and we still managed to find a way to lose. So these are the, as I mentioned earlier, about the questions being asked to Will Newton. They're just going to continue to mount. So Chad Pennington has a pretty decent game. His completion percentage is pretty bad, but he was pretty efficient yardage-wise and getting into the end zone, so we can't be too mad. Emmitt Smith was over 131 yards, still finding ways to lose, man. Those are 2 performances from 2 of our top players on the offense that you really cannot waste if they're going to do that, man. Obviously, if Carney would have completed a couple of those field goals, it could have, should have, would have. We should have been in the position, just point-blank period. So coming out of that game, we do lose our next game against the Chiefs here, but they are one of the best teams in the AFC, so nothing too shocking there. And so our last few games are against 2 4-9 teams, similar records between the Eagles and the Chargers, and then we close things off with the Buccaneers, who are probably going to win the NFC South in its first year. So in our next video, we are going to cover our next Eagles game in the season here. Hopefully we can grab any kind of wins now down the stretch, man. Hope to see everybody there at home.